How's it going today, everybody? Welcome back to the Rapway Homestead. And so today I'm going to be going over how I like to reverse sear our steaks using the our Pit Boss grill. It's got that sear plate on it. Now if you don't have a Pit Boss, you have a Traeger or any other smoker type pellet grill, you can still do this. You'll just need a different way to actually do the searing, whether that be in a pan or a lot of folks like to use they get their charcoal grill going to sear it. But this is how I like to do it. So, and I think if you follow these steps, you'll be really happy with how it turns out. So today we've got two thick cut ribeye steaks. We just got back from the processor. We try to buy a half a beef every year, and these are the first steaks out of that, so we're pretty excited. So the first thing that I like to do is I go ahead and put a very light amount of this Himalayan pink salt on it. And when I say a light amount, I mean almost none, but just enough to help draw some of the moisture and bring out the color. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just a little bit on there. These are still partially frozen, as you can see. I prefer it to be a little more thawed, but that's the way it goes. So again, just a little bit. You don't want it to really be salty. This should just kind of draw the moisture out of the steaks. So I put a little bit of that on one side, and then the other seasoning I like to use is this famous Staves steak and burger. We find this stuff to be awesome on everything, but I like putting just a real light layer of seasoning on here. I don't go crazy with my steak seasoning. You can use whatever you like. I don't like to drown out the flavor of the awesome steaks too much. So do just a light dusting of that. Kind of pat that in. We'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side real quick. So a real light layer of our Himalayan pink salt. Kind of rub that in. And you'll see right away that draw out the, I don't know if you can kind of see, but it starts drawing out the pink color in the meat right away. That's kind of what you're looking for, just to kind of rub it in. This is the coarse grind. Then a light dusting of the steak and burger. It's nice and windy out today, so it makes it a little more difficult. And then what I like to do is I'll let these steaks, I'll bring them back in the house and let them sit out on the counter, ideally until they almost get up to room temp. That might not happen today because it's already getting late in the day, but that's what I usually like to do. So I'm gonna go pop these back in the house. We're gonna be cooking dinner here. I like to let this sit really as long as possible. Today we're gonna be sitting, or they're gonna get to rest for about 2 hours before we put them on the grill. We'll go ahead and get the grill fired up a little bit and we'll get right back with you. Alright guys, so here we go. So the grill is all up to temp. Now one thing very important that you saw is to clean the grill really well before you do this. The reason is if you go to crank your grill up to the 450 to 500, we're going to do to sear these. What ends up happening is all that grease and stuff that's in there that starts burning off, like you're doing a burn off, if you will. That you get that flavor into your meat, and you don't want that. That's not what you're going for. So you want to clean the grill real well and then crank the heat to burn all that off before we do this. But as you can see, the juice is pulled out of the steaks now from that salt and our seasoning. It's been a couple hours now, and these are a little cool, but they're about up to room temp. And what we're going to do is go ahead and put these on. Now I've got the grill or the smoker set to 225. And you want to bring these steaks up to 120 degrees internal temp. So you're not trying to like put grill marks or anything like that. You're basically smoking these until they're up to 120 degrees internal, and then we'll finish cooking them up to, I like a rare, medium rare steak. So when we sear, that'll bring them up the rest of the way to temp to get your desired, I don't know, doneness, I guess you call it. If you wanted more of like a medium steak, you know, you might want to bring the temp up to more like 125 or so. But what my family and I, we like medium rare. So we're gonna bring it up to 120 before we sear them off. So we'll go ahead and get them on the grill, and we'll be periodically checking these to get them up to that 120. Now you'll notice in here we've got our side dish. So that's potatoes and onion diced up with some other things in there. I can do a video on that if you'd like. Drop a comment if you'd like to see how we do that. You'll get to see it on the plate later. So stick around for that when we see, and we'll see how good of a job I did, if I hit a medium rare or not. But yeah, that's what's in there. So we'll go ahead and get these guys put on. Now this is the cool side to the grill, and I'm gonna put the bone toward the fire pot. That way we're not really getting the main meat part too well done. There we go. Now I'll keep coming out here and checking these until we get them to, like I said, that 120 degrees, and we'll follow up with the next step. I'll let you know how long it takes too. All right, so they are up to 120 degrees internal temp. The next step is going to be I take them off, put them on a plate, and cover them in aluminum foil and pop them in the house until our grill gets up to temp, which I'm going to turn up to 450 degrees. Once it hits that 450, we'll kick the sear plate open and sear off these steaks. So let's get them pulled off. So as you can see, they obviously do not look done, and they're not. They're 120 degrees is considered blue, or what you could call extremely rare. It's supposed to be safe to eat, but it's very, very rare. So we'll go ahead and we will get these wrapped tight in aluminum foil. What this does is two things. One, obviously keeps them from cooling off too much. But number two is it allows the steaks to kind of rest and to pull that moisture back into the meat. That way when we sear, it doesn't all pour out. And you'll notice that when we cut it, how juicy they are. But we'll go ahead and crank up the grill, again to 450, and we'll let it get up to temp, and we'll get back with you when it's time to sear these off. Another thing I do need to mention is these steaks took 1 hour almost to the minute to get up to that 120 degree internal temp at 225. So that'll kind of help you guys out when you are trying to plan your dinner time. All right, so we've got the grill cranked up to 450. We're sitting at about 500 degrees. We're gonna kick our sear plate open. And now is when things get exciting. So this is where you can put your nice grill marks in, and you can make these steaks look really nice. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but we're gonna give it a try. So go ahead and drop them on that hot griddle, or grill plate. I like to just shut the grill for just a couple seconds, and I'm not gonna cut this, so you can get an accurate idea of how long this takes. So shut it for a few seconds, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it, and I'm going to try to give them about a quarter turn to give a nice checker pattern, and we'll see if it works out. But that's the idea. Now, this is where you can way overcook your steak, so you don't want to let it go too long. So that's why I'm not going to edit this or cut this part, so you can see how long I let it sit. So we'll go ahead and kick it open. We're going to give these about a quarter turn. Put that nice crosshatch in. Now, if you're doing more than 2 steaks, what I'll do is I'll keep 2 off on the cool side and kind of rotate them in, and it gets a little more exciting. 2 is the best. 1 really would be the best for getting it perfect, but we'll go ahead and do, obviously we're doing 2 of them at the same time. So we'll let these go for a minute here, and we'll flip them, and we'll see how we did. So again, right now, the grill is at about 430 degrees. It's going to drop temp, which is why you want to crank it up so high. Plus, it gets that fire pot really hot and full of, full of ash or full of the hot red coal, so it maintains temp. So give it just another couple seconds here. We're going to pull it. All right, let's give them a flip and see how they're looking. Now, at times, I don't do this long enough. We got to flip it back, so we'll see. Yep, them are looking good. You want a little bit of that crisp on there. Now, they didn't quite get the crosshatch I'm going for, but that's just part of it. You know, this is the part where you can really perfect, and I'm not absolutely perfect. I can tell you they're going to taste amazing. Now, if you let this go too long, obviously you end up with too much char on the outside, and you end up kind of tasting more char or crispiness or burnt, really, than you want. So we're not going to let this side go quite as long. These steaks must be fairly fatty. You can see it flaring up pretty good. That's kind of what we're looking like right now, looking delicious. Give them a quarter turn. We're not going to let it go on this side for too long, and we'll pull them. But this is where you this is trial and error, and you kind of learn. And we'll see how this goes. So, looks like it's coming along pretty good. We're going to let these go a couple seconds, and we'll get them put back on our plate. And we'll go inside, and we'll find out how I did. We'll look at our potatoes, cut open this, and we'll see what everything looks like. All right, let's see what we're looking at. Ooh, that looks delicious. We got some nice char marks on there. Get this steak pulled off. All right. We'll go ahead and shut our grill, shut our sear plate. Close the lid for it. We end up with a grease fire. Now, I shut the grill off right away so that fire don't keep rolling. You don't want to keep feeding flame in. Let's go in the house and see what we got. But, boy, they are looking delicious right now. All right, so let's see how we did. So here's our potatoes. Again, if you want to see a video on how we do them, go ahead and post a comment. I can certainly do that if you guys are interested. But let's cut into this steak here. And we'll see how we did. Again, we're shooting for medium rare, so you can be the judge. Oh, nice and tender. Oh, there you go. I'd almost call it a touch more on the medium than medium rare. But man, that is looking good. I'm going for the taste test. Can't beat it. See how juicy it is, all that juice coming back through. I'd call it a medium rare, like what I was shooting for. There's a little pink, very juicy. Might be a little more the medium side, but man, that is perfect. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna go ahead and eat the rest of this steak. Can't wait to chew the rest of it up. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Got some other videos making some fresh homemade ham, as well as a lot of other videos doing things around the homestead here. So hope you enjoyed it, guys. And until next time, you have a good one.